Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Super Mario RPG. In the last part we did side quests around Monster Town and the rest of the world, and now it's time for the last thing we can do in Monster Town for now. This door that the Piranha Plant mentioned was locked basically the last part. You need the Shiny Stone in order to enter it. Before I do so though, this is what my party's looking like. Gino with the Experience Booster, and my active party as equipped as they saw there. This is what my loadout's looking like with the items, especially the 5 crystallines we got last part, because we're going to need them. It's been sealed. Look, the Shiny Stone is reacting. The seal has been broken. Let's enter. Greetings. I am Culex, Dark Knight of Vanda. I have crossed into this dimension to fight for the Dark Mage. But this world is uninhabitable for me and my kind. I must return to my own world. Before I go, though, I would like to challenge your strongest knight. Will you accept my challenge? You will enter combat against me? Yes. On guard. Pay attention to the music. I am matter. I am antimatter. I can see your past. I can see your future. I consume time. And I will consume you. Super Boss for Super Mario RPG is Culex and his 4 crystals, all corresponding to the usual elements of Final Fantasy. Fire, water, earth, and wind. Starting off, we actually want to have Mario use the crystalline just so we can raise defense in the party, and have Mallow use the rock candy we've had from the start, and Peach use Psych Bomb just to get some quick damage in before anything else. You might recall earlier on, actually, when I showed you my equipment, Mario's downgraded to the work pants just so he can have the extra speed in order to get that crystalline off right off the start before he can summon the crystals and do all this damage. In terms of the stats for everything, let's go over the crystals first. The first one we're taking out is the Wind Crystal, the green one on the far right. 800 HP, Bolt, Petal Blast, Light Beam, Electroshock, Lightning Orb, and Stat Electricity. Potentially the most fatal out of all of them, honestly. It is weak to jump, though, but it's immune to Thunder as well as all status ailments. It has a flower it can drop, but I've never seen any of the crystals drop their flowers. It can drop an attack-up flower. After that, we're heading after the Water Crystal there, the blue one. 1800 HP, Ice Rock, Diamond Sauce, Solidify, which is extraordinarily dangerous. Crystal and Blizzard, weak against fire, immune to ice and all status ailments, and can also drop an attack-up flower. Also, this is Mallow's Star Rain attack. It's essentially Super Jump for Mario, only it can only go up to 16 times, and it has a lot more of a forgiving timing. Non-elemental damage on a lot of your enemies, so honestly, pretty useful. In terms of, before I go over the next crystal, since the water crystal's still around, in terms of why I chose this party, Mario, well, you had to bring Mario in, and Jump's pretty good in this fight in general. Mallow is because not only does he essentially has the most elemental range because he has both ice and thunder to him. Plus, the ability to hit multiple people with stuff like Star Rain is just really useful. Peach is here for healing, essentially. She's the mage. Not only can she just heal us outright, but in the case we get inflicted with any status ailments where possible, not only can she heal us from them, she can also heal us from being taken down. However, I do have a pick-me-up prepared just in case she's the one who gets downed in this fight. Every now and then, though, Culex likes to use Shredder. That removes any and all buffs you have on your party members, like the crystalline I put earlier for the defense. So essentially, whenever he needs that, I need to reestablish the party defense buff. Also notable, I have Mallow equipped with the Trooper Pin, not only for the speed boost it gives him, but also because it gave him auto attack up at the start of the battle, which means I could get some extra damage in really quickly. Solidify is probably the most dangerous thing out of the major attacks that these 3 can do, though every single one of the crystals does have single target and multi-target attacks, so you need to be very careful there. In terms of the strategy you want to use, I obviously showed you how to kill the Wind Crystal really quickly just by using Star Rain, the Rock Candy, Psych Bomb, Star Rain, and a Jump very quickly. But with the Ice Crystal, you're going to want to use Super Fire on it just to get the most fire damage in on it in general. Star Rain when you can, just because it'll allow you to get a lot of damage in that way. And Peach actually isn't going to be doing much attacking during this fight. She's mostly there to react to whatever damage we receive. However, once the water crystal goes down, we'll be going after the fire crystal there on the far left, which has 2,500 HP, Drain, Mega Drain, Flame Wall, Flame, and Corona. Weak against Thunder and Ice. I think it's the only one of the crystals that has 2 weaknesses. Immune to Fire and all status ailments. Again, attack up Flower. When we get to that point in the fight, the strategy we're going to be using is jumping on it and have Mallow and such physically attack. Snowy is also useful in that case. In fact, I think that's what I use with Mallow at that point. And plus that'll get some extra damage in on, I think, both the Earth Crystal and Culex. Also, notable, yeah, the boss fight uses the Final Fantasy IV boss theme, which when I first started this, oh my god, I geeked out so hard, because you know how I love Final Fantasy IV by now. But I always found it interesting that they just outright designed a new character like this and didn't go for like a reference fight, like, let's see, I think Final Fantasy V was a thing by this point, so they could have used Gilgamesh. However, I suppose for American audiences, that reference would have been lost, wouldn't it? Although, it's weird, they used the Final Fantasy IV boss theme, but the sprite design for Culex, and the detail of the sprite in particular, hits me with more of a Final Fantasy VI design mentality, particularly with the way the ice looks. He looks like he'd be right in place in Kefka's Tower and such like that, which is kind of weird. This is a rare instance, though, of a super boss that gets easier the farther you go through it, because at the start, you're getting hit with 5 attacks at a time, which is pretty deadly. Later on, though, you're only getting hit by 4, 3, 2, and eventually just 1, which I can't think off the top of my head many other super bosses that did that outright. I think Penance was like that in 10 HD, but it's been a while since I did that fight, and I've only done it once because no way am I doing that twice in my lifetime unless I decided LP 10 at some point. Let me think. Anything else I can think of that did that just by looking across my game collection? I guess the Yakuza games might with Amon, depending on the game you're playing. I think God of War 2018 super bosses got easier as you went through, with the exception of one of them, because my god, that one that was in a small arena is just annoying as all hell. That's about it off the top of my head, really. Oh shit, Peach fell. It's situations like this why I brought in the pick-me-up. I actually had a lot more of those and Able Juices before I actually started this battle, or at least before I recorded this part, but I sold a lot of them off in between parts just to narrow down my inventory. Thankfully, I got a freebie, so if it happens again, I can keep her up. The freebies, I think I mentioned them before. It almost feels like they're timed, but I think they're actually completely RNG, like, even speedrunners are having trouble figuring out what exactly causes them. Like, supposedly might be tied to this one frame in the item menu when you press it and such. Essentially, it's determined whether you're going to get a freebie when you use the item. Oh, crap, Darkstar. This is Culex's more or less most dangerous attack, because Jesus Christ. That would almost kill Mario at this point. That's pretty ridiculous. Thankfully, I got that freebie earlier. Usually, that's one of the rare times I've ever seen him use Star Rain on Peach in my experience fighting this, because I always bring Peach into this fight and have it hit. Usually, whenever Culex uses Star Rain on anyone else in this battle, it's usually Mario or whoever my third party member is, because I have varied up this fight a little bit in my time. The only party member I don't think I've ever brought into the Culex fight is Bowser, because status ailments just are not useful in it at all. I've brought in Geno more or less alternating with Mallow at various points, though I think Mallow is more useful in the long run. Either way, we now only have one crystal left, the Earth Crystal, 3,200 HP, Storm, Sandstorm, so yeah, that's why Group Hug's useful here, because it can inflict fear on you. Blast, Water Blast, and Boulder. No weaknesses as far as I can tell, but it's immune to all status ailments. I generally think it's weak to Thunder, but I've found some conflicting information, and it just doesn't feel like it's that weak in comparison. And again, as usual, can drop a attack up Flower. With that, all that's left in this fight is Culex. Culex has a total of 4,096 HP. I think that's the highest out of anything in the game. And he actually only has 4 attacks, barring outright physical attacks. Shredder, which we've seen, Meteor Blast, which I think we'll see later, Flamestone, which I think is usually his rarest attack, and Darkstar. Darkstar, again, is the one you need to fear. The thing is about Culex, though, is that he actually does have an elemental affinity. He is immune to ice. He doesn't have a weakness, but he is immune to ice, which you need to keep in mind. Otherwise, still immune to all status ailments. And he actually does have experience to give, unlike everything else in the fight. He has 600, though keep in mind that will be divided amongst your party members more or less. I recall, though, at several points throughout time, there being all sorts of rumors about QLX being from a certain Final Fantasy game that we just never got and such. That's just not true. QLX is just supposed to be a boss styled like a Final Fantasy boss. That's it. And it admittedly works. I actually kind of wish it's kind of a double crossover. One of the Squaresoft games that would come out at the time would almost have a Mario super boss of sorts, just to kind of complete the circle. But I can also see why that would be kind of out of nowhere and, let's face it, totally whiplashy for the game at the time, probably. Because let's see, Mario RPG, when was that released? This game was released in 96, I believe. Whereas Final Fantasy VI, which was the most recent game at the time, was 1994, I think. Final Fantasy VII was probably in development when this game was happening. So, yeah, I could see why they wouldn't do anything like that. God, could you imagine fighting Mario in Final Fantasy VII? Let alone the eventual switch to the PlayStation, thanks to the better technology at the time over the N64 for an RPG like that. When you come to QLX himself, though, the strategy just becomes going all out against him. Jumping, physically attacking with Peach, although you could also use Psych Bomb, though, let's face it, you're probably going to be using Therapy or Group Hug with her more often than not. And I actually use just physical attacks with Mallow here, because yes, Shocker will do more damage, but I want to guarantee I have enough FP to do as much damage as I can within a short time. And using Shocker combined with Jump would get more damage at the moment, yes, but in the long term, I believe it would actually get me less. Also, I'm going to use a Power Blast. I got this, I think, from just a random encounter somewhere along the line. So I'm just going to use it now and do as much damage as I can. Once you get down to QLX himself, though, the fight is a lot simpler, obviously, but it's also just at its easiest because it's one source of damage only. And even then, as you can see, due to the fact that I have the safety ring on Peach, she's immune to elemental damage, which is a really big help in this fight, by the way, given the fact that the crystals all use elemental attacks, so they have basically, if they don't use a party attack, a 1 in 3 chance of just not dealing any damage. But it's a dangerous fight. I actually decided against bringing the Super Suit into this fight just to make it more of a fair challenge. And at this point in the game, honestly, is when this fight feels the most right in terms of Super Boss difficulty. Too early, and it's going to be way too hard. A bit later, and it wouldn't change too much in difficulty, but it would, I guess, be a noticeable difference given the later game equipment we would have. Right now, when you have the Monstro Town area equipment, basically, and late teens to early 20s in levels is when I think this fight is best approached in terms of having a good time for a super boss. Also, yeah, his physical attacks hurt when you don't have a crystal in. At the end of the day, though, QLX is the hardest boss in the game without a doubt. But compared to some other super bosses I've fought in my time, Penance, Ozma, Omega Weapon from 8, Omega, various other things across RPGs, he's not too bad. He fits the game just right in terms of the difficulty. It sounds so good in this sound font. It's ridiculous. I love that. And we get a lot of experience for beating him, so a lot of people are going to reach level ups at this point. It is around now that I suppose you could stop focusing on HP for people like Peach, Mallow, and Mario, because the main reason I gave them HP throughout the game more or less was so I could have a lot when I got to this fight. But I'm going to stick with the level up curves I've already set for myself just because it feels right not to focus on power this late. Ah, your spirit is strong. Thank you, brave knight. I will treasure this memento of my journey here. Perhaps in another time, another game, we may have been mortal enemies. Let us part as comrades in arms. Take this, treasure it as a keepsake of our fight. And we get the quartz charm. Farewell, champion knight. Also, I love the version of the prelude that plays here. God, it's so good. Final Fantasy music is really good. And now the door is just completely gone. What does the Piranha Plant have to say about this? I think our neighbor moved away. Oh, I guess that's pretty self-explanatory. At this point, though, I'm going to use the inn and head back to the world map because it's time we finally progress with the game's plot. after very little last time. Welcome to Bean Valley. Basically, every enemy here is a repeat from Land's End. Stingers, Think Flowers, whatever they're called, Chewies, Ribbites in some areas, Geckets, Creffids, a lot of repeat enemies. Thankfully, it's still good for experience points, though. Also, a moment ago, Bowser actually got his final technique. Bowser Crush, which I don't use too often, but as for what it does, you summon a giant Mecha Koopa from Mario World, and you press Y during the attack to increase the damage dealt, I think when you stomp on the enemies. And maybe it might be a masher. Either way, it costs 16 flower points, which is pretty expensive. Also, the frog coin I got a moment ago, I swear I've also seen that be a rock candy, but I might be imagining that. Oh, hey, a flower. Either way, in the next area, we have something interesting. You might remember the Shyaways from earlier. There's one in this area, and it's going to be watering all these piranha plants, causing there to be fights with, like, Chewies and such. I'm going to cut past all the fights, but I'm going to fast forward at watering them all because it takes a while. Now, for a few moments ago, we got the Quartz Charm, of course, for defeating Culex. And as for what that does, it raises your offense and defense by 50% and makes it so that instant death cannot hit you at all. Essentially, it's a somewhat different safety ring. However, it also has a secondary use. It raises the damage of rock candies and a certain thing we can also get later on. In the case of the rock candies, it raises it to 300. And the other thing, it'll raise its damage, I think, to 150. More on that later. For now, let's go down these pipes. And we have our actually only new enemy in this area, off the top of my head at least. Actually, wait, no, there's another. Chomp Chomp, 150 HP, weak against thunder, 5 coins, 12 experience points, has an attack up flower, and can be Yoshi cookied into a mushroom. A bit late to start throwing mushrooms at us, game, but I guess 30 HP is 30 HP in a game like this. Either way, jump in a very specific spot over here, and a new pathway opens. This leads us to Great Guy's Casino, which you might recall we have the card to enter from Knife Guy a few parts ago. Let's check it out. Please enjoy yourself. The casino is small, to say the least, but it has some cool things for us. First off, let's talk to this person. Welcome to the Great Guy Casino. Want to play slot machine? Sure. Require instructions? Sure. The slot machine costs 10 coins per game. Hit it once to start the game. Each consecutive hit will freeze one of the pictures match, altering you might win a frog coin. So essentially, easy way to get frog coins. 10 coins per, so it's basically having a chance to convert 10 coins into one. Next up over here is Blackjack. Sure, let's try it out. Require instructions? Sure. In Blackjack, whomever comes the closest to 21 points without going over wins. I will first deal 2 cards, then we'll each draw as many cards as we wish. Once we stop drawing cards, we both show our hand, and whomever has the higher total wins. But if your hand exceeds 21, your opponent wins regardless of how many points they have. So if you exceed 21, you'll lose. If I go over 21, you'll win. To play, you'll need 1 frog coin. If you win, you'll get 1 frog coin, but if it's a tie or you'll lose, I'll keep it. So how about it? So essentially a chance to basically double your frog coin. And then there's Great Guy. Hello, Mario. I run this casino. Feel free to enjoy yourself. Wonder what became of Booster's search for a bride. Business is so slow. Hey, Mario, want to play Look the Other Way with me? Ready, and look the other way. Oh, you didn't get caught. I lost this round. Here, you can have this. And we get a mushroom. No, thanks. Essentially, it's random chance. You press a direction, you have a 50-50 shot of looking the way he's not. And you win. You get a mushroom for this now, but if you win it 100 times, you get the Star Egg, which is the other item the Quartz Charm buffs. Essentially, it summons a Star Slap with 2 Zeo Stars, and it does 100 damage to all enemies. Either way, now we're back in the Bean Valley, and as you just saw there, we actually had another slot chest. The slot chests here are different, though. Essentially, if you get 3 unmatching items, you fight the Mimic it is. If you get 2 of them, you get that item. A recovery mushroom, it's that. A rock candy, I believe it's a star. Or a flower point if you get 2 flowers. If you match all 3 pictures, though, you instead get a frog coin. My goal is to get as many flower points as I can at this point, so I'm going for the flowers. Either way, that one there is a guaranteed fight against a box boy. 900 HP, Carnicus Scream and Blast, so not too annoying. Weak against jump, but immune to everything else. 150 coins, 100 experience points, but it also has the ability to summon an enemy in of itself. It can summon a Foutso.
420 HP, Meteor Blast, Boulder, and Aurora Flash, so potentially very high in damage. Weak against Jump and Ice, immune to Fire and Thunder in all and most stats elements. I don't think it's immune to Sleep, actually. 0 coins, 5 experience points. Not too annoying. In fact, honestly, it's probably preferable for it to summon the Foutso so you can get the extra experience points. But overall, not too annoying. Bit of a weird enemy design, though, even for this game. There's a couple hidden things in here. First off, down here is a frog coin. I'm not sure if that counts for a surprise chest. And a red essence over there. Gotta keep that around. I actually almost used red essences during the Culex fight also, but I decided it would be a bit too cheap against him. Admittedly, those 3 turns are pretty useful, though. I might use it eventually, unless they become Mega Elixirs, essentially, and I just never use them. And in here we have not only our last slot chest for this area, but also a Caro Caro Cola. So that's pretty handy. Either way, there's a save block there, but before I use it, I actually want to change up my equipment really quickly and give Peach the safety ring to prevent status ailments coming up. Why? You'll see. Also, should probably use a flower type to get my FP up again. Give ourselves a save. Also, now I think about one thing that's kind of weird about Mario RPGs, I don't think it measures your playtime off the top of my head. Hello there. Some more Chewies, I guess. That's not a Chewy. This is a Smilax, 200 HP. I guess that's the boss. La-di-da, it's shower time. There, my pretties. Or we have 2 Smilaxes. They can put you to sleep, and then otherwise they have fire attacks. Weak against ice, but they're not immune to jump or thunder. Immune to all status ailments, though. Guard timing is when they closed their mouth the last time. Bit of a weak boss fight, though, if you ask me. La-di-da! It's recycled water. There, my pretties. Okay, now we have 3 of them. Hi-home-de-dum. At this point, it's more worth it just to use Snowy, because you'll kill all of them in one fell swoop. I love that blinking animation. It's so cute. Alright, is that it, finally? That's, what, 6 Smilaxes? La-di-da, I added some nutrients. There, my pretties. Okay, now the fight actually begins. Hi-ho-de-dum. We have 2 more Smilaxes to deal with, but we also have the actual boss fight, Mega Smilax. 1000 HP, Flame Wall, Petal Blast, and Scrow Dust. So essentially in this fight you can either be put to sleep or put into a Scarecrow, hence why I gave Peach the safety ring so she can be immune and still use stuff like, Group Hug. Weak against Ice still, immune to all status ailments, no coins, 120 experience points. And honestly, this fight is pretty easy. I remember having some issues with it early on because I didn't really have many equipment pieces that actually resisted status ailments back in the day. But nowadays, it's nothing too much to worry about. Also, you're going to be seeing this party formation a good bit throughout the game. Geno and Bowser are still going to get a lot of screen time, but this is one of my favorite parties, if not my favorite party in the game, just because the elemental coverage and the healing potential is really good with it. Jump could be a good way to go up against Smilax, but really, the FP that I need for Snowy is more important just because it will do more overall, I think, than even Jump at this point, if not equal. Once the 2 Smilaxes are gone, though, in the final phase, it becomes pretty simple since all you have to do is just go all out against the one thing. And once you have one target and you're going all out during a boss fight, rarely is it going to be an issue until probably the final area, if not the final 2, if even. And there we go. Smilax and Mega Smilax, not a very hard fight at all. And Mallow reached level 20, nice. As I mentioned before, between level 20 and 30, your stat gains kind of reduce in quality. Look what you did, Smilax has been whacked. Oh, I'm gonna get it. Queen Valentina told me to keep everyone out of Nimbus Land. What should I do? I know, I'll run away. That works, I guess you're a Joestar. But he does drop something. What's this? It's a seed. Take it, take it, take it, and never sell it. Keep this with you until you absolutely need it for something, because this is a really good item to have around for something later on. By the way, let's check out what's down the pipe Smilex was guarding. Oh, a block. Ah, generic vine block. It's Mario Brothers all over again. Wow, did you see that? It's a magical beanstalk. Hit the block once more to climb it. Alright, but with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 13, we'll be climbing this vine to see what awaits us at the top of it. See you guys then.